Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. I am Jay Theo, and today we're going to be talking about gay men and non-traditional relationships. So this is going to be polyamory, open relationships, and just the whole topic of non-monogamy. So I've been wanting to make this video because I recently watched a documentary which included one of my favorite podcasters, Dan Savage, and it was called Monogamous, and it really just talked about the history of marriage and non-traditional marriages and also just the idea of non-monogamy, which I found very, very interesting. So as a gay man, it really sparked me to want to have this discussion with you all and really talk about the idea of non-monogamy. Also, as someone who has not been in a serious relationship, I also do consider the idea of non-monogamy for me, as I'm still trying to figure out what I want out of a serious relationship for myself as I get older and I'm starting to become more aware of what I really, really want when it comes to a partner or a future relationship. So I'm really looking forward to having this discussion with you guys and really walking through being a gay man and the idea of non-monogamy when it comes to relationships. So guys, with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right on into this video and let's discuss gay men and non-traditional relationships. So as I said, I recently watched a documentary called Monogamous, but I also read a couple articles recently about some gay statistics when it comes to non-monogamy. So a 2021 study at the Gay Therapy Center in San Francisco found that 30% of gay men in relationships are in open ones. So that was something pretty interesting. Also, a 2010 survey from San Francisco State University found that 50% of gay men in relationships are monogamous and the other 50% have sex outside of their relationship. So a big chunk of gay men are not in completely monogamous relationships. So I think it's worth the conversation here to talk about and discuss. At the end of the day, this is the reality. I mean, these were some surveys and some studies, but this is pretty much the norm. If you are a gay man, you're pretty aware that a lot of people in gay relationships are not completely monogamous, and that does not mean that that's a bad thing at all. Additional research did find within these studies that there's really no difference of happiness and stability within these men that are in these non-monogamous relationships. So I think to start off this conversation, let's first off define what is polyamory and what is an open relationship, and are they the same thing? So they aren't the same thing. Let's first off start off by defining polyamory. So polyamory, the word is built off of the Greek root word poly, which means many, and the Latin root word that means amory, that means love. So the love of many. A more firm definition of polyamory is that it allows people to have multiple loving connections simultaneously. One crucial aspect of polyamory, though, is that everyone involved has knowledge and consent of everyone else involved within this relationship. Also, another fun stat is that overall in America, polyamory is on the rise. A YouPub goal that was conducted in 2016 and 2017 has seen an increase from 39% to 44% of people that are looking and pursuing non-monogamous relationships. So now let's define open relationship, especially since this is 30% of the relationships that gay men find themselves in. So open relationships are usually defined as a romantic relationship where either one or both partners want to pursue sexual relationships outside of the main relationship. So it's more of a sexual desire when it comes to open relationships, where polyamory and poly relationships are more based on loving multiple people. And as a gay man, open relationships are most what I've encountered when I've met couples that are non-monogamous. I've only met one or two throuples in my entire life that were gay. A lot more exist, but I've only met a couple. So one common thread between polyamory and open relationships and the whole idea of non-monogamy is the idea of communication and honesty. It takes a lot of communication to be a part of these type of relationships because you really have to work to make your partner feel comfortable. But also, one great thing about this communication is that you talk about things that you necessarily wouldn't talk about in a monogamous relationship. You talk about wants and desires and needs of your partner and a different aspect of how to really make them happy. So I think the communication that can be stemmed out of non-monogamous relationships are actually pretty cool, because you're going to talk about the wants and the needs of your partner that in a monogamous relationship, this may be a conversation you could never have, because the whole idea would be that your partner is starting a conversation to cheat or to be secrecy or, you know, to not be monogamous at the end of the day. So I think the communication that can come out of these relationships, I think, can be actually really cool and really enlightening for your partner really getting a true understanding of what you want and what you desire out of a relationship and out of a partnership. I feel relationships should welcome vulnerability. I feel like relationships should welcome open communication. And if things change or things flex or there needs to be adjustments, I think relationships should welcome that kind of communication if you truly are partners or in love with this person. And I think people who are in non-monogamous relationships, they are open to understanding and hearing out what their partner needs to be ultimately happy within this relationship or with them in general. And I think that's very important and very key to any relationship dynamic. I don't understand why relationships have to ride on secrecy and lies, why we can't be more open and honest about what we actually need in a relationship. And I think even monogamous relationships could take this into the relationships as well. Yes, if you're not open to your partner having another sexual partner or them having another boyfriend or girlfriend, totally understand that. But I think we should be more open to hearing out what our partners needs and wants are, so we can better feel like we are being a companion to them and doing a better job at making sure they're getting their needs met, whether it's with me in a monogamous relationship or whether it's potentially without me in a non-monogamous relationship, or just having a better understanding of what those partners' needs are. I mean, for instance, some partners have higher libidos than others. Some partners have interests in kinks and fetishes that their partner doesn't have interest in. And I think those conversations are worth having. At the end of the day, we as people, we grow, we evolve, we change, we have different interests. And I think it's very naive to think that one person can offer everything to you that you need within a relationship, whether it be emotionally, physically, or sexually. I think it's a little naive to think that one person can offer that. I also think even just in the realm of shared interests, I think we have to understand that our partner is not everything. I may love anime, I may like video games, and my partner may hate anime and hate video games. But if we can build a relationship where I can bring somebody else in the relationship, if the desire is to be non-monogamous, and then I have my video game partner, I have my anime partner, but then with my other partner, we love to cook, we love to go on adventures, we love to travel. I feel like we really limit ourselves on what our relationships can look like because we really always think that one person can offer everything. I think being being in an open relationship or being poly doesn't always have to rely so much on sex. It could be so many other things. At the end of the day, intimacy is just not always between two romantic individuals in a relationship. We have intimacy within our friendships. We have intimacy within family. There's ways to have deep conversation, deep connections with people that's not always sexual and romantic. And I think sometimes we limit ourselves in our thought process when it comes to non-monogamous relationships when we completely focus it solely on the desire for sex. I also think we put a lot of focus on jealousy and possession when it comes to a lot of relationships. And I think one great aspect of non-monogamy is that it allows people to invest their emotions, invest their love into multiple people or even sexually into other people, so that there can be a more sense of freedom and less this feeling of possession when it comes to having a partner. I think a lot of people, when they get in relationships, they think this person belongs to them. They think this person, that body and that person belongs to them. And I think the one thought process I like about people that are non-monogamy, they understand that these people are not possessions. That we all have desires and wants, and we all can ebb and flow. And I think the idea that your partner is your possession and that they literally have to do everything for you to make you feel loved, I think is a very, very, very problematic viewpoint. And I think people that are non-monogamous have a little bit more of a viewpoint that we have more of a sense of freedom, and we all have different desires and wants, and those things can change. And I honestly think that some people that are in non-monogamous relationships have a way better understanding than their partner than people that are in relationships that are monogamous. And this is not to shade or shit on monogamy. I think monogamy is perfect for some people. I think all of us have a desire for some level of stability, some level of consistency, some level of familiarity. So I think monogamy has its place, and so I also think non-monogamy does. And I think we as people should be able to flex and flow and gain different understandings of what those relationship dynamics could look like for us. And I think us having conversations and starting to discuss these things with our partners or with potential partners should not be a crime. It shouldn't be judged. It shouldn't be shat on, because because people want to have communication discussions about the idea of being open or the idea of having non-monogamy. I think we need to be more open in general about the idea of what is truly love, what can love look like for me, and my love doesn't need to look like someone else's love. I feel like the traditional idea of marriage and one person sometimes, like I said, limits us from the potential of having an amazing or just a different life. And this isn't to say that poly relationships or open relationships don't have their well worth of drama and problems and politics. Like, I do think these relationships can get just as messy. That's why I think monogamy still has a place for certain people. But I think all of it opens the door for larger conversations, even if you are a partner that wants to be monogamy. That wants true monogamy. Explain that to your partner, why that matters to you. Explain that exactly why stability or familiarity or consistency is important to you, so that your partner can better understand. And maybe you guys just aren't compatible if you want monogamy and your partner doesn't. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are not monogamous. A lot of people are not faithful in relationships. You know, a big reason for divorce is infidelity. A big reason, and a lot of people just have, and a lot of times, two people just have a hard time getting along. On a typical day, there's 20,000 domestic violence calls placed to domestic violence hotlines or to police stations. Like, two people have a hard time getting along, and I think we need to understand that that is a norm. And a lot of people cheat. A lot of people cheat, men and women. So I just think that we need to have these conversations and be a little bit more realistic about our expectations within relationships, and be a little bit more open to understanding our partner and having the communication. At the end of the day, I think it's super important to constantly be having communication on what your partner's wants and desires are, not only just emotionally, physically, sexually, but all of the above. And I feel like this will continue to allow us to just have a better companionship with our partners if we're having these open communications to really understand what our partner wants and what our partner needs. Because we really need to share the thoughts of possessive actions and envious behavior when we are in love and we are in relationships. I think the understanding that this person is not ours, this person can have connections with other people, can only better your viewpoint of the relationship. I think also the thoughts and conversations about non-monogamy also opens the door for us to view relationships that are not so codependent, or as someone would say, like relationship addictions, where you feel like everything is this person and you can't do anything without this person, and you're emotionally invested in this, only in this person, and you're emotionally reliable on this person. Like, that's not healthy. And I think the idea that we as humans can love and be connected intimately with other people, I think that allows us to break this chain and break this lock that we have to push our relationships to be so codependent that we can't even open the door to pour into and to love anybody else, or to even just be sexually invested into somebody else, or even just be or just to bond over shared interest with somebody else. I think we need to be more willing to open these doors and lose this connection of possessiveness and jealousy while we're in relationships. Lastly, y'all, we're queer. We're queer, we're gay, we're lesbian, we're all of the above. We don't follow anything traditional, especially within the modern idea of monogamy and love and marriage and all of the above. And I think the fact that we are queer, it allows us to experiment and to try new things and have deeper conversations and to be more open to different types of relationships. I just challenge everyone watching this video, everyone within a relationship, everyone trying to pursue relationships, have conversations and communicate with your partner. Make sure you understand what their true desires, wants, and needs are. Because even if you're in a monogamous relationship, if you guys are having conversation about desires, wants, and needs, cheating will still happen. Breakups will still happen. You know, non-monogamy will still happen if you guys aren't having those conversations. And I think the goal of love at the end of the day is to support, be there, to hear, to listen, to acknowledge, to understand. And I think, that's one great thing about non-monogamy that it offers. I think it offers this huge level of understanding. So I just challenge us though, as queer people, be more open to discussion, be more open to understanding what the wants and needs are of your partner, and don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit your partner. Don't limit you. At the end of the day, whether you're in, at the end of the day, I think monogamy has a fit for people in our society. I think non-monogamy has a fit for people in our society, and I think you really have to question and ask yourself, what is the best fit for me? And also understand that you're an evolving person. You can change, you can shift, you can grow. What was right for you 10 years ago, what was right for you 5 years ago, what was right for you yesterday could change tomorrow. So just keep all that in mind. You know, the thought of being with somebody for 50 years, 60 years, you know, and the idea of infidelity ruining your relationship, you know, that does not have to be a factor. Divorce is hard. Being in relationships are hard. Connecting and intimately bonding with someone is difficult. So when you have that bond, you know, there can be discussions on how to keep it, even if there's interest in one's outside of the relationship, outside of the connection. I just think those are just more conversations we should be having. And at the end of the day, like I said earlier, one person cannot be everything to you. And that doesn't matter if it's a friend, if it's a lover, if it's a relationship, if it's a marriage. Keep in mind that not one person can be everything for you. And I think when we start having more of a grasp on that, it kind of releases this pressure from us to think that one person can be everything for us. It takes that pressure off you and off your partner. So lastly, the question I always get when I discuss these type of non-traditional relationship dynamic is that would I ever be in a non-monogamous relationship? And yes, the answer is yes, I would. I think there's so many opportunities in life. There's so many different things we can experience in life, and why not be open to an open relationships or a poly relationship? I think there's so much love to give out there. I don't think our partners are our possessions, and I think any way that can make me more vulnerable or open to my partner to be able to understand their wants and needs and they're to understand my wants and needs, I think is super, super amazing. And it shows that if I'm in a relationship like that, we are communicating, we are talking. Now, and we are really seeking to understand each other. Now, like I said, this isn't to say that one is better than the other, but I definitely am open to both. So all in all, I want to say love is love as always. I think communication is the key to any relationship, no matter what the dynamic is. I think we as queer people have even more of a range to test different types of relationships, to have deeper conversations with our partners, to be more open to how we really want to love and what our love can look like. At the end of the day, we are evolving, we're ever changing, and I think we should always be having these conversations to move forward as humans and be more dynamic when we're loving on each other. So with all that being said, guys, let me know in the comments if you guys are open to non-monogamy, open relationships, poly relationships. Also, if you are gay or queer and you're in an open relationship, you're in a poly relationship, please let me know how it's going. I would love to hear how your thumpers are going, how open relationships are going, what your rules are within your open relationship. Let me know what's going down. But as always, guys, please be sure to stay safe out there. Happy Pride, and I will see you guys on the next video.